The Edit, brought to you by Glam Doll, bringing Hollywood home.
Hello and welcome to The Edit with me, Lisa Cannon. Well, each week we've been coming to you here from our cosy Glam Doll studios, which brings Hollywood home. We kicked off this brand new series with all things film and entertainment, and this week we've got some Vogue fashion served up for you. I'll be chatting exclusively to Irish artist and bag designer David O'Sullivan about Druis Couture, his new line which features in this month's British Vogue.
Beyonce did me a favour there. She introduced it. It was great.
We'll also be on the sofa chatting with our resident film critic, Gordon Hayden, about what movies are in store for 2021. But first, let's take a good look at possibly one of the most un-Christmassy movies ever, Freaky, starring Vince Vaughn. The latest from Blumhouse, the creators of Happy Death Day. Here's a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the film.
Keep your eyes open.
Everybody is freaking out.
This movie is really messed up. This is going to be fun.
Morning, Millie.
Millie is a very sweet high school girl.
Cue the creepy dude in the mask.
And then she crosses with this murderer.
And our souls swap.
Where am I?
And it's so easy for him now to just kill whoever he wants.
Are you sure this is safe? No.
Oh my god, it's a slaughterhouse.
He's every iconic killer wrapped into one. He's Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger. He's your classic killing machine, which makes for a fun switch.
We are not holding back. Knives and chainsaws and bodies splitting and heads cutting off and blood gushing out.
You're black! Okay, we are so dead!
I know this is crazy, okay? There's a lot of voices competing. It's funny and twisted.
Great, we're gonna get killed by Murder Barbie.
I can't wait to kill you.
It's shocking.
Standing and peeing is kind of rad. This is ridiculous.
Oh, a little slice of Freaky there, starring Vince Vaughn. And joining me now on the sofa on The Edit is Gordon Hayden. Gordon, you're very welcome. A horror for Christmas. What's going on?
Yeah, well, you know, as bad as it sounds, we have had Christmassy themed horror movies in the past.
Yeah.
And they've kind of varied in quality. Now, the only thing about this movie is it's from Blumhouse Productions, and Blumhouse have had huge success in the last few years because it's been masterminded by Jason Blum, and he makes his horror movies very cheap. Sometimes they've got a high concept, like Freaky does, and they're normally the budget's about $6 million, and they've tended to make huge amounts of money at the box office. But he's also had, when I talk about some of the success he's had, he's made like some Get Out, Jordan Peele's film, the Oscar-winning film, and he has strayed away from horror, and he's made like Black Klansman with Spike Lee. But anyway, back to Freaky. The reason why it's called Freaky, do you remember a film years ago that Disney made, and then it got remade, starring Jamie Lee Curtis? Yeah.
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday, yeah. So Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis in the remake. So Freaky Friday, exactly. So this one's Freaky. Why? Because it's another body swap movie. So it's directed by Christopher Landon, who made Happy Death Day, which was a high concept film, kind of a Groundhog Day sort of vibe. Who is the killer? Well, she has to keep living the same day over and over again. Keeps getting killed, closer and closer, trying to find the killer. Anyway, this girl, she's swapped bodies, but with who? Only a serial killer.
The killer, why not?
The serial killer. So it's a case of going, I've got to try and stop him before he goes on his murderous spree. The killer in question is Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, but the thing is, Vince Vaughn isn't really known for being a villain as such.
Not really. Like he's like in the past, he played. I don't know what he was thinking, but do you remember years ago he decided to star in the remake of Psycho? He played Norman Bates
yes.
for Gus Van Sant.
I do remember.
I can only assume he must have been drunk when he signed the contract. I don't know what he was thinking, but that film was derided as one of the worst remakes ever. So for very good reason, he hasn't played a villain in some time. But obviously, the success of Blumhouse has lured him back, and the film has had a cinema release stateside, and it has done reasonably well. Bearing in mind that there hasn't been all the cinemas have been opened, but it's the high concept, it's the quirky nature of the movie, and I think it's quirky enough that it'll get people interested as well. And Vince Vaughn, I think he's a great actor. He's a really good actor. And Blumhouse, they have had varying degrees of success. For every Get Out, they have something like Fantasy Island. They decided to remake that as a horror, and you go, who's asking for that?
But you're a horror fanatic, you see.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that you're excited about something like this coming on the market for Christmas.
Yeah, well, it's
not.
well, you know what? It's an alternative it's counter programming, I'd say, that with the industry. So no, I think it's one of those ones where it's disposable. You know what I mean? I think it's like fast food. You know, you'll probably enjoy it while you're in the middle of it, but then you'll forget about it about half an hour later. And I'd say that's probably what you're going to get with Freaky.
Well, speaking of disposable, 2020 has been pretty disposable as a year, especially when it's come to movies. But so many of the films that we thought we were going to see have now been pushed to 2021.
Yeah.
So what are we going to have to look forward to next year?
Next year, if you were working in scheduling, your head would be melted because how they've managed to rejig things. So, for example, a big case in point was No Time to Die, the 5th James Bond movie for Daniel Craig and his swan song. And we had the Billie Eilish song released. Remember, because there was all this anticipation, and then, no, it's not going to get released in April 2020. We're going to push it to November 2020. And then rumours were circulating that Eon, the producer, the production company, they've already earmarked Tom Hardy to play Bond. So all these rumours were swelling, yet the film hadn't come out. I still don't believe that Tom Hardy's going to be the new James Bond, but that's a conversation for another day. So we're now finally seeing, well, we all hope, James Bond coming out in April 2021, a full year since it was initially supposed to come out. And it is directed by Corey Fukunaga. And I try saying that fast.
Very good.
And he has made movies like Sin Aubrey, Jane Eyre. He's also the director of the first season of True Detective. He's a steady pair of hands. But what's also interesting, and people may have forgotten this at this point, that Danny Boyle was originally supposed to direct.
That's right.
And Danny Boyle, it was kind of mad, is that for ages, himself and his writing partner, John Hodge, who co-wrote the screenplay for the likes of Trainspotting and Shallow Grave, they had worked on their script. And it was all looking good to go.
And then what happened?
And then there was talk that he wanted to touch on certain political themes that had a very much a current and quite a close to reality impression of some of the villains. And I think the Bond producers got cold feet and were like, you know what? I think we're just going to stick to a more of a tried and tested formula. And so they brought back in the old writers and Robert Wade and Neil Purvis to kind of polish up the script.
Well, it just hasn't had a great start. There's been a lot of kind of bad rumours about it, so hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's coming out in April, but also to give you a heads up on what else is coming out. Another film that was due to come out in 2020 was Ghostbusters Afterlife. And this is directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who was the director of the original two films. And this will have no correlation to the 2016 all-female Ghostbusters. This is very much like a direct sequel to the first two. But again, it doesn't feel from the offset like a Ghostbusters movie, because I can't imagine Jason Reitman wanting to come in and do like a copy and paste of his father's work. So this one almost feels like it's made by the guys behind Stranger Things. If you've seen the trailer, it just has that feel about it. Like the
kind of ominous?
Yeah, it's very much like Egon. You remember, played by the late Harold Ramis.
Course,
it centres on his grandchildren, and they discover, whoa, Granddad actually had this secret lair underneath the house. Don't worry, he's no Joseph Fritzl, but it's just that he has this old Ghostbusters lair, and there's a few old ghosts that are in this container that managed to get loose.
Listen, it's one of my favourites. It's an all-time classic for me, so I'm actually looking forward to that and excited about it. But there's a few others as well.
Yeah, Minions 2.
Oh, good.
So now you've got these two Despicable series going on. So you've got the Despicable Me movies, which definitely need a shot in the arm. That third film is terrible. But the Minions, like everyone loves them. So Minions 2, The Rise of Gru. So this is basically like Baby Gru, like little Gru. And we get to see how he became this incredible mastermind villain.
Yeah.
Again, Steve Carell is back. Looks great. So looking forward to that. Fast and Furious 9. Will they end up in space?
Oh, really?
They're bound to end up in space now. It went from like street racing to becoming like this weird Ocean's 11. And now, and they were getting chased by like what was it? A submarine. In the last. You kind of go, really? Look, physics are out the window in this. It's become a live action cartoon, so God knows what's going to happen. But anyway, John Cena is in it because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Vin Diesel fell out. So Vin Diesel got a wrestler for a wrestler, and so that's coming out too. And it's also Marvel. Like they've got Eternals due to come out. Black Widow. Yeah. So these are all to come out. So it's going to be jam-packed. So just fingers crossed that cinemas don't close. Because like Lisa, like every week there's going to be something massive in cinemas, which is only a good thing.
Fantastic. Well, 2021 is set to be a smasher then, of course. It has to be.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much, Gordon, for coming on The Edit as always every week. And we can't wait to talk to you next year for more movie news. Now, he is tipped to be one of the hottest expressionist Dublin artists on the scene and has recently started to design luxury handbags, both vegan and other, that capture both his art and designs. This cool concept has landed him in this month's British Vogue, with Beyoncé gracing the cover. Not bad for a man who only started designing a year ago. Earlier this week, I caught up with Dave O'Sullivan of Drew's Couture to find out what it's like to be headhunted by Anna Wintour and striking a pose for Vogue.
Wow, an absolutely stunning collection there for British Vogue by Irish designer David O'Sullivan. David, you're very welcome to The Edit. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you very much for having me on. It's a privilege.
Listen, that collection is stunning. I mean, to be featured in Vogue, that's not too shabby, let's be honest. I love reading it every month. I mean, what kudos to you as a young, obviously designer, but also as an artist as well. This must be a dream come true to be featured.
It's not something we had envisioned, but we put such an effort into the shoot, and I got the best people I could on a shoestring budget to help me, just people I knew and things like that. And I knew if we did a good enough effort at it, it would do the brand some good. But the next day, Vogue got in touch. The next thing they were saying they available to have a chat, and I had an interview with them then the day after, and suddenly it was happening. So, it's great. It's great, but it all helps.
Of course. And of course, this is a brand new collection. This is a new venture for you because originally people may or may not know you're a very well-known and young artist on the Irish art scene. I mean, we would say abstract or expressionism. Well, you have some of your artwork there behind you there, and you've had exhibitions in Copper Gallery and many other places. So how did it go from being art to handbags?
I'd tried garments in the past, and between the technology not being ready to get it down and to get a standard good enough that you could actually go, okay, we could go to market with this. But this one here on this side here, this stripe one,
yeah,
that was the first one. So that was a painting I had, and we've been selling prints of it and things like that. It was quite successful, and I said this could be the one we could put on a bag. So I found somebody who could print it onto a quality of leather good enough and could put it together in such a way that it would actually work, because it's a nice idea, but for it to be wearable and actually, make sense for somebody to say, okay, it's not just a gimmick, the quality had to be good. So we managed to get that going. I was selling prints for, X, and now you can have something that works and you still get you can use your art. It's probably the best way of describing it.
Absolutely, and people will know that your art is so abstract, it's so funky, it's so bright and colourful. We actually did a project together for Go, which was a charity event, and the colour schemes that you use, I mean, do you actually, put a lot of thought into how the bags will translate to the art, or is it more the other way around? I mean, what way is it working for you, that the idea comes first, then the picture, and then the handbag, or is it the other way around?
Initially, it was the paintings, and then I said, these are the ones that'll work, because I just looked at my catalogue and said, okay, that would work. Because if you want, I initially wanted to make, jumpers and things like that, but they don't read. But because the bag is like a little canvas, it goes on straight away and it just works. So it was good, and the reaction has been really good, surprisingly good, and that's great because. Yeah,
you can't get any better than British Vogue. You can't. And the fact that, of course, they approached you and you're going to be showcased again, in the January issue. So we've got you in December and you in January. I mean, that is phenomenal for any young Irish designer to do that. And of course, the bags, I know everyone's going to want to talk about them because you've got 3 different styles. You have Italian leather, you have soft leather, then you also have vegan as well. You've got a vegan option, which is just outstanding. Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, the vegan option, it's a faux leather option, and it's there if people want to take it up. Still, most of the ones that are going are the real leather ones, but that's the way it is. But at least the option is there. We're trying to do something, trying to be a little bit ethical about it. It's harder when your economies of scale aren't the same as the big guys, but then, they've got their own questionable production methods sometimes too. So we're not doing too bad.
As you mentioned, you're using your art in order to kind of frame the designer handbag that people would want. But in fact, they're actually, even though Vogue is an affluent magazine and it's obviously a luxury brand, these are actually great prices. Like they cater for us, the normal people,
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, myself and my brother bought my mum a Celine bag years ago. We went splits on it for her Christmas present. They're a lot of money. And I was looking at it going, fair play, they are gorgeous, but surely somewhere you can go in between the middle there or even less and to bring something in for under €200 was the plan and still have a bit of wow factor to it. And I'd like to think that they are standout. They're not for everybody, but what's the point? I can't take on Chanel and do a black bag and put Druish on it. I'm not going to win that battle. But if you're going to do it, be different. And, if it speaks to 5% of the people, it's better than being meh to 50, in my opinion, anyway. So I'm happy with it. That's it. So we're very niche. You either like it or you don't, but we're getting a good reaction to it, thank God. And internationally, it's been pretty good. 25% of sales at the minute are going out of Ireland to, Paris. A couple have gone to Paris, a couple have gone to London. So it's really good to see that. You're like, oh, because I wasn't thinking, you can't think Irish market. Like the internet's your shop window now. If you're going to have a website and do all that, why think about, you're not restricted anymore. That's your shop window. You're out there.
But I think as well, that you cater to so many different people and the looks of the bags are absolutely stunning. I love them. And there's different styles as well. You have crossbody, you have shoulder. So there's plenty to choose from everyone if they wanted to purchase anything. We're
working on the rest of the range at the minute. Up until Christmas, we were just going to stick with the crossbody and just do that right rather than trying to, overdo it and just focus on that. Spring we'll be attacking with more stuff. It's very exciting.
What was it like to see your picture and your collection in British Vogue? I mean, what happened when you went and you saw it in the newsagent?
It was pretty wild. My mum was very proud. My wife was very proud as well, which was great. Once they're happy, I'm generally fairly happy, so that's okay. No, we were delighted. We were over the moon. Absolutely. Still can't believe it. It was nice of Beyonce to just, Beyonce did me a favor there. She introduced it. It was great.
Exactly. I'm looking at her here and I'm thinking, gorgeous. I read it every month as well. So it's absolutely brilliant. Well, listen, Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us because I know so many people, obviously they love the vegan option, but the fact that you have your beautiful, beautiful expressionism art that is now portrayed on these bags and has really caught the attention of the masses with Vogue and internationally, we are so, so proud, and especially to champion young Irish designers as well when it comes to that. So well done.
Well, thank you. I mean, there's so many great Irish small businesses out there, and you notice it when you start looking around and you're on Instagram and you're trying to build up your own brand, and you know, we don't do ourselves enough justice. We're a great little country, and there's loads of talent, designers, and there's a real go-get-'em attitude out there. It's great, and long may it continue, because we're as good as any of them.
Absolutely, 100%. And I know building a business during lockdown, and especially when the economic crisis is in full throttle with us, you have done so well. And I think it's just about keeping your vision, isn't it? And keeping your dream and keeping your hopes there for a good success.
Yeah, you have to do your best. You have to try.
You have to try. Well, listen, you did more than good, David. We are so proud of you. Congratulations on your features in Vogue in December and January. And we look forward to seeing the new collection come out. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's at druith.ie. Am I right in saying that?
Druith, yeah. The Irish word for desire or lust.
Fantastic. What better way to do it? And indeed, everyone can catch you on Instagram at Druith Couture. David O'Sullivan, thank you very much for joining me, and best of luck with the new collection.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. I'll take that one. That's good.
What a top guy and a brilliant young designer to boot. You can see the full collection from David O'Sullivan in the December and January editions of British Vogue, or simply log on to druith.ie. Well, that's it from us this side of Christmas. Don't forget to like and subscribe to The Edit. You can catch today's show and previous shows on thestyleedit.com and lisacannon.ie. It is well and truly almost Christmas, so that can only mean one thing. It's time for some crackers and festive cheer, and what better way to end the show than with a clip from Soul, which is out on Christmas Day on Disney+. A great one for all the family to enjoy. So from me, Lisa Cannon, and all of us here on The Edit in the Glam Doll Towers, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you all in 2021. Take care.
Dr. Borgenson will be matched with soul number 22. Oh, we're going to get into this now. Excuse me.
22, you come out of this dimension right now.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't want to go to Earth.
Stop fighting this.
I don't want to.
You will go to Earth and have a life.
Make me.
22 has been at the U Seminar for quite some time and has had such notable mentors as Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, and Mother Teresa.
I made her cry.
Ignore that.
Put me down.
We're truly glad to have you here, Dr. Borgenson. It is an honour having you prepare 22 for Earth.
I'm gonna make you wish you never died.
Most people wish that, 22. Off you go. Bye.
The Edit, brought to you by Glam Doll, bringing Hollywood home.